Hey Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel, and it's that day again, the Derby d'Italia. We are blessed to have two more Derby d'Italias this season as we line up with those chumps in the Coppa Italia semifinal. And the first leg will be going today, and getting ready for that one today is Lewis joining me. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Are we feeling much better in our club going into this one than we did the first time?
I think so. I feel good. Listen, this has been a roller coaster of a year. Pirlo has been given every crazy scheduling that you can imagine. February looks worse than January was, and January was brutal. So,
Yeah.
I feel really good despite, where we are in the table, but things are trending upwards, I think.
Yeah, and I put it's funny you mentioned the schedule. Yeah, it's January was a crucial one for
Mhm.
us, like when you think back to the winter break and how the team was performing, and just everything in the buildup, and leaving us feeling at that point I felt more like those particular rough patches and matches weren't just one-offs.
Mhm.
Like it was like this team is kind of struggling to find any kind of rhythm. There was
Yeah.
still a lot of question marks around the lineup. There was still a lot of things left to be answered by the team. Fast forward through a January, which was pivotal for us if we wanted to stay in this race or whatnot. And Juve does a fantastic job. We literally only dropped one match, and it's to the same chumps today. And now we have a chance. And this is another thing with this match. It's not just the Coppa Italia. It's still a Derby d'Italia, and it still will answer questions and be crucial for us in terms of our mentality, our state of mind, and being able to say that was a blackout,
Yeah.
and now we're moving forward. Look at how much stronger we are, right?
Mhm.
And when you look at in terms of lineup, there's going to be a lot of change, even if there's minimal from the last match to this one, because when we faced them the first time, De Ligt was not in the lineup.
Yeah.
McKennie was just back after a knock, so he wasn't 100%, and he didn't start that match. He's become uh, he's become crucial to
Yeah.
our midfield.
One of the
In
first names on the team sheet every week.
Yeah, he's a lock, right? Artur has established himself
Yeah.
as a name that needs to be tops in the lineup. Bentancur Bentancur has been a huge change in discussion from the first match to now, because I was literally saying he was bottom of the totem pole going
Yeah.
into that at that time. Like he was struggling. He's been playing great
Mhm.
as of late, and I really like what I'm seeing out of Bentancur. So yeah, the other thing is back in that lineup, you know, Kellini, Danilo, which were fine. Kellini did a good job. Danilo, maybe not as much as we are accustomed to this season. Frabotta was there, and now we have Sandro
Yeah.
back in the lineup. He's slated to start, as well as Quadrado on the other side. Demiral heavily predicted to be in the starting lineup here today. So it's going to be interesting what we see, but we are going to get really into it with the match. But first, I asked a question for those of you who join us live as well. The Mercado obviously came to an end. We saw some players move, a couple loan deals, but ultimately Juve does not bring in an addition. And I got to ask, and I asked the poll question, and it was almost split right down the middle. It was
Yeah.
awesome to see, and I asked Juventus to elaborate, and we were getting great answers. It was really, really a good one. I love discussing it. But the question was, is our team complete? And you had even a great answer to this one, Lewis. And I'd love for you to share your thoughts on, is our team complete now that the Mercado's over?
Yeah. So the simple answer is our team complete? No. But are you satisfied with the Mercado? I mean, there's nothing you could really do other than get rid of like some dead weight, like get Rugani a new loan deal, get rid of Khedira, lock in a player like Rovella, who you could use as a bargaining chip, or he could be a good player. Sell some of the youth away. But this team, if we look at the first two things this team needs, is probably like a fullback and a midfielder. We're not getting that in January. Like that type of player we need, we can't sign in January. It's not realistic. So I think in preparation for the summer, they've set themselves up in a good spot. They've retained a little bit of money. If they want to extend Dybala, they probably can now. They got some loan deals. Hopefully they can sell some of those players in the summer. And yeah, I think that we'll be looking at a pretty active summer this year. But I think January was just ironing out the kinks for the summer.
Yeah. And that's typically what gets done at Juve in January. I was saying the whole time, I think we would get one that would actually come into the fold. And in my eyes, it was always going to be that striker, just another 9. There was an opportunity presented itself for a playmaker, but obviously Atalanta was unwilling to let Papu go anywhere in Italy. After that, you were kind of thinking possibly one of these older guys as a striker, but the Dzeko thing didn't make sense in terms of playing time. Like, why are we going to commit that kind of wage just for like a stopgap and even just for the rest of the season? While I think he would have done great, it's kind of like, oh man, I don't know. I just didn't see it happening. And then obviously it was unlocked today by Nico Sciarra there, and he said, this is the reason, Scamacca didn't happen because Juve didn't want to commit with an obligation, not knowing what was going to end up happening in the summer in terms of that. So that's why they didn't commit, which makes perfect sense. Yeah. Dzeko, there was apparently only one phone call. There was a phone call to see if it was happening, but again, they didn't want to commit to those types of wages. And then Llorente was a possibility, but Pirlo didn't see him as a good fit, as the right guy. So that one didn't work out as well. And then in terms of the midfield I don't think was ever going to be boasted in January. It's not. That's going to be a bigger project. But a lot of the reports are saying that Juve will go heavy at the midfield come the summer. So it'll be interesting. I mean, for me, I've been saying it for a while. I know you have his kit lined up at the Juve store the second Locatelli gets announced, but I think it's happening 100% with Locatelli. Yeah. I think the outside guys, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, in terms of guys we've moved, the number 6 is now free and available. Sami Khedira has moved on. Rugani is on a loan. While it's only a loan still, he moves to Cagliari. Positive reports that De Sciglio will be signing permanently with Lyon. So come on, let's keep that. Let's make that happen. But
I tweeted yesterday that if Juventus next summer get rid of Rugani, De Sciglio, and Douglas Costa on permanent, it will be the best thing we've done in 10 years.
Yeah, and it's true, man. And like we gotta see, like Costa's gonna be a tough one. I don't think that one's gonna happen there, man. It's gonna be a tough one, a tough move. Yeah. It's gonna be so little. I think like his value's just diminished, man. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Antonio coming in, Forza Alberto, Forza Luis, Forza Juventus. Let's get into this merda tonight and show them who's boss. Absolutely. George coming in here. Feels like we played merda months ago rather than weeks. Currently on an upward trajectory in terms of the Mercado. Agree completely with Lewis. The January window served its correct purpose. Absolutely. And it's funny because we were talking about the different feeling around Juventus going into this one as opposed to the first one. And George kind of nailed it on the head there. It does feel like it's been months in terms of how much has happened, in terms of how the players have progressed and just the overall team. But the biggest thing is that's always been the question with this team is the mentality. Do you see that change in mentality for Juventus there, Lewis?
Just a little bit. I mean, they still have the issues in the second half where they take the foot off the pedal. But in the last 2 or 3 games, really since the Napoli game, you really seen them go after opponents and like play really well. Kind of what Pirlo has preached, which is, high press, win the ball back, this progressive type of football. And we saw that first half against Sampdoria was great. Just like almost a flawless half. Yeah, the combination play on Chiesa's goal was beautiful. And I thought in Bologna we had it. We just didn't create a lot of chances, which is also kind of maybe the downside of the Sampdoria game as well. But it looks like it's almost there. And you were starting to see kind of what Pirlo wants. In comparison with Sarri, we heard all about Sarri ball and the build-up to Sarri being coach, but we never saw Sarri ball. We're starting to see a little bit of like Pirlo's version of what he wants to play. He's figured out his best 11. It's a little bit more solidified now. And, I think the new signings in January really picked up for us. Like Morata had some big goals. Kulusevski had his best month. Arthur is playing like the player we thought he was. Chiesa's taking another step up. Same with Weston McKennie. So I think that's where things have changed a little bit, because now it's like, okay, last Mercado was solid because these players look like they can be Juve players. And Pirlo's style is looking like he's getting there. It's just about, winning some big games this month,
Yeah, and that's just it. But yeah, in terms of mentality, I think I'd have to tend to agree. It's almost right where we need it to be, to the point of where we're a scary, scary club. But it's definitely shifted quite nicely recently. We spoke to the schedule. So, we talked about how crucial January was going to be, and Juve doing fantastic, very, very under the radar, almost cruising through January. And the only blip in the road was against Merda, but a lot has changed. And again, that blip, like, it hurts us so bad as Juventini to lose to that club, that it honestly like overshadowed how good that month actually went in terms of results and everything. You factor in the Super Coppa against our rivals Napoli and actually rendering them pretty much useless in that match outside of 2 quality opportunities, maybe 3. Again, just our attack wasn't it wasn't as fluid as we would like to see, and we didn't generate enough chances, but we buried the ones that counted. February, well, kicks off today with the first leg of the semifinal in the Coppa Italia. Then we have Roma on Saturday, which will be a tough match. And if we think back, this is another measuring stick. You have 2 measuring sticks back to back, because when we played Roma, this was early in the season. And Pirlo had not established anything close to where he's at now. And and Roma chewed us apart, especially in the middle. They were able to pick us apart at will. They were able to find that space in behind the attacking midfielder that Pirlo likes to use. They always found that side that was unbalanced and attacked us through it. So the Roma match, you've got 2 back-to-back measuring sticks. You've got the Coppa Italia against Merda. You got Roma. Then you have the follow-up, the second leg to Merda again, right after that on Tuesday. So a week today. And then you'll have Napoli on Saturday. So they will be looking to avenge that Supercoppa defeat. There's still a game in hand that hasn't been set up yet. Anything that I've seen in terms of the schedules. So there we go. So that one's going to be a big one. But man, I tell you, it's thinking back to that scenario. If I were Napoli, I would have played that match at that time. We were fragile. We were not established. They should have been doing everything to play that match, in my opinion.
Listen, there's a good argument. If Napoli plays that match and they beat us, like, we might not even be in the race now. Like, that game in hand keeps us in the race,
Yeah, and it's that little nice confidence boost. You still have to do something with it, but it's nice for us to have that
Yeah.
and kind of hold it over the rest of the table too, and be like, ah, you know what, we still got one, and
Yeah.
we're in striking distance, right? So, and then of course on the 17th on Wednesday, the first leg of the knockout tie versus Porto. And then you finish out the month with Crotone and Hellas Verona. And Verona is anything but a guaranteed win these days, a real pesky side. So it's a tough, tough month. Absolutely critical. Roma Napoli matches are huge. The Coppa Italia, I'd like to see us. I don't want to allow Merda to get a trophy opportunity. Let's keep that long streak they have
Yeah.
going on trophy lists. So yeah, a very, very tough month of what's going to be. Antonio coming in here with a comment for you, Lewis, is going to hate me here, but I can't help think Locatelli is a lot like Bentancur, but I would still bring him in. Awar would be the cherry on top for me. Lewis, order your Locatelli 6 jersey. And you know what? I I think Locatelli separates himself, in my opinion, when you watch the players from Bentancur in terms of the passing range and the ability to break those defenses. Bentancur shows it to you, but then takes it away for a while.
Yeah.
Locatelli, it's just a part of his game. He is so good at either going over the top, especially over the top. I've seen some Pirlo-esque balls from Locatelli.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to get involved out of the top of the area and have goals and whatnot. He strikes me as much more confident than Bentancur overall. And Bentancur actually spoke to it. I talked about it on the last podcast. It's strange for me to hear a midfielder come out and talk about him not having the confidence to shoot on goal and that they're working it all on training. I just couldn't believe that. And I'm just like, we all knew it watching this team play. But it's kind of weird. It's like, man, you've got to get that confidence up, and you could see it in play. So it's kind of one of those moments where everything fans were talking about, in terms of these midfielders needing to shoot more or whatever. There's your big piece of evidence right there with one of our guys actually saying he's low on confidence when it comes to shooting. But your thoughts on Locatelli and maybe the comparison being even there? I don't really see it too much there, but your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't see it even, but what I would say is I think that while they both play similar positions, I think that Locatelli lets Bentancur roam freely. And the big problem with Bentancur is when we lose the ball, he attacks like he's a number 8 or a number 6, not like a regista who protects the defense. That's what Locatelli could do, is give you that stability, almost like Pjanic did when he first started, or Pirlo, or like, the classic regista right in front of the defense. So what it allows, Bentancur becomes more box to box, kind of like how he plays for Uruguay, and you kind of get the best out of him. And then we could play Arthur, we could play Bentancur, we could play Weston McKennie. I like Awar a lot. I think he's a great player. I have no idea where he mixes in if you have Arthur, Bentancur, and Weston McKennie. If you don't sell one of Rabiot or Ramsey, it's just like it feels like you're buying another one of the same type of player you have. So I expect that young player, that second one, unless it's like him or Pogba, I expect it to kind of be like a young midfielder that we don't know about, or maybe like a experienced vet.
Yeah, I think honestly, looking at it, I think Locatelli, again, I say it's a lock. I think he's coming 100%. I think the other option will be between a guy like Awar or a guy like DePaul. And I actually agree with it being that way because I see those players somewhat similar in attacking senses, being those playmakers, being those driving players. And Locatelli is different, as you mentioned, more of a true regista holding mid, but still offers you the passing range, right? A true deep line playmaker, really.
Yeah.
So I think one of those other two and Locatelli, I would be ecstatic come summer mercado, and we got Locatelli and one of those other guys. I know many Juventini aren't rating DePaul, but do not sleep on this guy. Seriously. Don't sleep on DePaul.
DePaul is way too good for where he's at. And the only reason he's still where he's at is because we have clubs are in an awful financial situation last summer.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a ton of interest in DePaul. But again, it's just these times, right? Nobody can make a move. And that might be to Juve's benefit because they might be able to swing in there and make something happen. But yeah, let's go here with George coming in here. A bit of a controversial one. We love that. Love controversy. But the toughest match other than Porto is going to be Verona, the team everyone hates to play against. Roma, given their absentees, and Napoli with their form are winnable. Absolutely. Yeah. I think, honestly, if we're looking at the schedule and whatnot, honestly, if we can round things out and still be stable and solid in play, it's all winnable. They're all winnable matches. And it comes down to Juve. Are we going to be, and this is really going to be the month that'll answer that question more than the previous month. What's going to separate it is the consistency. And is Juve going to be able to do what they did in January and follow through again? Right? That's the big question. And it kicks off today with these guys, the lineups. It's going to be interesting. Let's quickly get Dan's thoughts on as a Regista Locatelli is miles above Bentancur, especially in his defensive passing abilities. Yeah, we both kind of touched on that. I think Bentancur is best as a depth role option. Yeah, I want to ask you something, Lewis, because his name has been thrown out there as a possible move in the summer. Moving away from Bentancur, we know that the deal with Boca has been settled. There's no more. They did that periodically over the past couple of years, so that the 50% sell-on clause going to Boca is gone. And he's one of the names that's kind of been rumored, as well as Dybala, to be moved. And what are your thoughts there on Bentancur and a possible move? What would your thoughts be should that happen?
I mean, I would prefer them to get rid of Rabiot or Ramsey, but like I said, like I've been saying, if you get a large offer for a player like Bentancur, especially since we have to reinforce the midfield anyway, I think you should just take it. You get like 40, 50 mil. I don't think Juve can afford to pass that up on a player that might be coming off the bench. So I think that depending on who they bring in, maybe, but as long as it's a means to an end. I mean, I think that, like what Dan said, he could be like a great fourth option. I don't think he's unsellable. That is more the point I'm getting at, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then Colin coming in here. Ciao, guys. Hey, Colin, thanks for joining us. And then Eric, the ball breaker, getting his goddamn shot in there. Berto, don't sleep on DePaul. Me. Yeah. Whatever, man. I'm telling you. I've liked him every time I've watched him play, man, to be honest. And I think part of it, and Eric, you got to agree here, is when you watch Ramsey play that role and then watch a game with DePaul at Udinese. And if you're still sleeping on him, okay, then you deserve watching Ramsey go through those invisible displays. No, that's all good fun. Everybody's opinions, it can vary on players. It's so hit and miss, man, all the time. But what's he got here? Well, fuck, our girls can be subbed for Aaron. Hey, our girls are doing fantastic. Actually, that Coppa Italia match, that last one for the women, they were down 3-1, ended up winning like a 4-3 match or 5-4. Something crazy. It's Empoli, wild times. But yeah, maybe Ramsey is more suited to that, maybe in terms of physicality, because he's injured again.
Yeah, well,
it's like death, taxes, and a Ramsey injury.
it's not necessarily the physicality. It's like a gust of wind in Turin blows the wrong way and Ramsey pulls a muscle. It's just
Oh yeah, man. Like it's just it's always an inevitability with this guy. He just his fitness. He can't do it. He just can't stay fit. So he's injured again. And to the surprise of nobody, really.
I was surprised.
Honestly,
wrong.
McKennie's the go-to man.
Yeah.
McKennie's been the guy. He as of late has completely taken the role and taken the reins there over top of Ramsey, 100%. Let's get back to lineup. There's projected lineup for today: Buffon, Quadrado, Demiral, Bonucci, De Ligt, Sandro, with Arthur, Bentancur, McKennie, and then Kulusevski's here up top. I know that there's a couple options in there that could change, and that's going to be whether or not it is a true 3-5-2 like this suggests with Quadrado and Sandro as wingbacks. You might see that change. It might be Demiral, De Ligt, and then Quadrado and Sandro with no Bonucci in there, but I doubt that one. So it might play out as a true 3-5-2 because Demiral is slated to play. And my question to you is, as this was a rumor, but we love our hypotheticals on the All Juve cast. So hypothetically, if a team came in with an offer on Demiral and it was around that money that was rumored, 45 million euros, you take it.
Oh, so I get so much flack for this, but I say yes. And I just think the reason is, again, financially, Juventus cannot afford to make more depreciating assets. So let's say Demiral has another year like this where he's injured most of the year again. It might become like a situation where now you can only sell him for like 20, 30 mil. Maybe it's harder to offload him. There's a ton of raw talent there, and I think he could be a great player. But if you get 70 mil for a guy that's not De Ligt, or 60 mil for a guy that's not De Ligt, like you have to take it. I don't understand that. But I do understand the argument. The vice versa is, hey, we only have 4 center backs, and then we'd have to go find one. But there's some real gems out there that we've been linked with. Lovato from Hellas Verona that might be slightly better, dare I say. So I think that they should at least consider it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think you have to consider it given where we're at. But the other thing is, too, I get both sides, and I'm kind of mixed on it. Yeah. If the number was even a bit more higher, I think, over 50 for Demiral, a guy we brought in for 18. I say you take it. But the part that got me was I didn't realize that there was already the option deal for Romero to Atalanta, and it was settled at 18 million euro. That's so low, but it's done. I had no idea. I totally missed that one.
Yeah,
because I was thinking, oh yeah, you make that move, no problem. Let's bring Romero back, and it's like, man, he's done. They're gonna buy him, and I'm like, well, we have still option, and it was. I totally missed that. So that was my bad. Romero, man, they're going to make that permanent for sure. Atalanta has to. Romero's been fantastic. So not having that kind of changes things too, because again, we got the aging guys. You got Kellini, I believe he's probably going to extend for one more year, to be honest. I could see that, but you can't bank on the guy. Mm-hmm. While he's fit, I have tons of respect for Kellini. I think he's fantastic. Bonucci is, man, he's shades of what he needs to be. And that sucks because now all of a sudden, if you are getting rid of Demiral, those are 2 your options. De Ligt's a beast. We don't need to worry about him. In this system, we would need some more coverage. So the argument can be made to keep Demiral there, but I think you have to consider it. You have to consider that move. It's not a straight no, and he's untouchable. I think other pieces of the Mercado would kind of dictate that and what their options are as far as another center back, right?
Yeah.
Because you would need coverage and so we'll see there. But yeah, Demiral slated to start, and this could also be a sign of Pirlo trying to instill a little more faith and confidence in Demiral by giving him some minutes that definitely weren't expected to go his way in this one. So we'll see again. Buffon getting the nod. I'm happy with both our keepers at this point. That's just a great luxury. Let's get some comments. Colin coming here. Anyone see that shot from Dabo? I did see it. He was like beyond half in our end and absolutely cracked one in midair. Went off the post over the
field. It's ridiculous.
It was crazy, man. That guy was actually highly touted by Juve. They were trying to get him back in Beppe Marotta's days.
Oh, wow.
And they're trying to sign Dabo. So, yeah, be interesting to see him. Antonio, Alex Sandro worries me tonight. He looks like he runs with a goddamn handbrake on. Yeah. The nickname for Sandro could pretty much be bathroom break, because if he gets the ball and you've been drinking, having a few beers or something, watch the game, and you have to take a piss, that's the time to do it, man. I call it bathroom break because it's so slow. You can easily go take a leak, come back, and you haven't missed a goddamn thing. So bathroom break slated to start. And honestly, if you had to pick between him and Frabotta, I think it's an easy call, though. On go with Sandro, at least for the defensive stability. But you could also argue this match. So for those of you that don't know, obviously Lukaku and Hakimi are out. So they're suspended for this one, and they won't be able to play. So it's going to be Darmian. So battle of the Goliaths over there with Darmian and Sandro. But you could argue that would be the time to get him, because Hakimi's threat and Hakimi's unreal. But the threat's no longer there. The rest of their lineup is pretty much the same, though. That midfield is locked and loaded with Brozovic, Barella, and Vidal. And then you'll have Young on the opposite side as wing back. And then at the back, right across the back, Skriniar, De Vrij, and Bastoni. And up top, Lautaro and Sanchez, which I think De Ligt will easily be able to handle that. No worries really from the top. They don't worry me at all without Lukaku, just because Lukaku's that focal point. If they're going to run two guys like that up top, I'm not very much concerned. The biggest thing will be we have to contain Vidal's runs in. He can't be unmarked like he was there, and we have to try and stop Barella. Barella's been fantastic, but that'll be the key for Juventus in this one. Your thoughts on Sandro and just the lineups and there?
Yeah, well, I've been vocal that Alex Sandro is the most frustrating Juve player, I think, of the last 4 to 5 years. I mean, you catch glimpses, they're last year in the second leg against Lyon, he was great. And you were like, where is this Sandro? And then you may never see it. It'll be 4 or 5 months before you see it again. It's just you get him a glimpse. But as far as the lineup goes, I think that, it's great to see Gigi in there. I mean, just every year, my love for Buffon just grows even more. It's crazy that I said on his birthday, it's crazy that he came back to be a backup keeper, and he's arguably as good as our starting keeper. He's been so good. So it's great to see him back. I think as far as the lineup goes, they're looking for a little bit more stability. Murta killed us on the counterattack last time, and we couldn't break them down. So I think there's a little bit of a shift up top. Kulusevski plays in the Coppa Italia anyway, but, get someone in between the lines and then try and open up the defense a little bit. And Demiral and Cuadrado and Sandro give you more of a counter prevent defense, because even though those wing backs are going to go up a lot more, especially Cuadrado, I think we end up seeing kind of a makeshift flat back four where Demiral is almost the right back and Sandro comes in a little bit just to stop us from being exposed on the counter again.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Barcelona match a little bit, the second leg.
Yeah, absolutely. Buffon was huge. It's crazy the some of the disrespect these guys are getting, Kellini and Buffon. Actually, I got a good question for you too that we'll get into. Davide saying, ciao guys, greetings from Germania. Greetings, my man. Greetings. Thank you for joining. Antonio, sell Demiral every day for me. He lacks something and I can't quite work it out. But for me, Romero is a far better player as a prospect. And like Lewis says, there are plenty out there. Sell every day. Yeah, I mean it's hard, especially in the current market and whatnot, and where Juve stands with their roster. Like Lewis said, it's tough not to consider it. Definitely not. It's definitely something you got to take into consideration if you're Juventus, if you're getting offers like that. Let's put it that way. Colin coming in here with guys, what are the odds for another assist from Panita tonight? Drive Juve Twitter nuts. The odds are strong, as as the several errors he's probably going to make that make Juve Twitter go nuts. So
I think
the odds are there on both accounts.
I think tonight Cuadrado's good for one like big game goal a year. It's coming. It's either this week or it's in the Champions League. It's coming.
Yeah. Eric coming in here with De Ligt will beat Lautaro with Sanchez. Oh yeah, that's gold. That's gold. Liam, Buffon forever. Man can do no wrong for me. I agree. And here's the thing: we talk about our guys getting disrespect. The disrespect coming out there for some of these guys is crazy. And I ask you this question because I saw it, and I mean, we are incredibly spoiled. We have been. So to make an all-time 11 is a very, very challenging task. But Kellini, the question was out there, does Kellini make your all-time 11? For me, the answer was simple. If it's during my time of following this club, that of actually watching players, 100% he made it. For me, it's Kellini. And the second part is really, really hard. For me, the second spot's between Barzagli, Ferrara, Montero.
Yeah.
That second spot is very hard for those guys. I know that many want to throw Cannavaro in there. For me, Cannavaro, like he was always a solid, a great defender, but 06 was an insane year.
Yeah.
The rest of Cannavaro that I saw was never like that 06 season, which was insane. So for me, he just doesn't. And he was also at Juve for a short period of time. And when he came back, it wasn't the same. And he was honestly, he was bad when he came back. So for me, it's between those guys. But at the back for me, all time, in guys I've watched, Buffon in goal, Kellini, Ferrara, with Zambrotta on one side, Thuram on the other. That's my so I want to ask you, all-time 11, Kellini, your thoughts?
Yeah, since I've been a fan, absolutely. I mean, also I started to become a fan like right at the beginning of the banter years. So like the ball, it's him and Barzagli. That's it, you know. Like
fair enough. There you go.
But as far as like, I saw some of the other names thrown around, like Sciarra obviously gets in there, Gentili, you know, some of these other Juve legends that I didn't get to see. It is really tough. The hard part about Kellini is the eye test. He doesn't look like the best defender. Like he's not really great on the ball. He's kind of a little sloppy. He's a little rugged. But I think that, you know, if you play 680 games for Juventus, most of those as a starter, I mean, I think you got to be somewhere close. If you're not starting in that all-time XI, you're at least on the outside looking in.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we open it up to all time, before like our time of watching Juve, Kellini is on the outside looking in for me. He's like an honorable mention, like on the bench, but to deny like Gentile, Sciarra is never going to happen. For me, those two, Cabrini as left back, Thuram, I still put Thuram on the right back. I know that so many Juventini have such bad feelings because of what went down and Thuram and whatnot, but ability-wise and watching him play, like Thuram for me was it, man, in terms of right back. So I can't deny him just based on that. And when I was watching him in the times here, I can't take it away, man. The guy was an animal. Zambrotta, guys have bad feelings towards him too. And honestly, he's on the cusp of making it in that all-time for me. In the middle of the park, for me, if we go just guys I've watched, Davids, Zidane, and Nedved are my three midfielders.
Yeah.
In terms of guys I've watched up top, it's rounded out with Baggio, Del Piero, and Trezeguet.
Mhm.
In terms of all time, my midfield probably goes Tardelli, Zidane, and I still probably throw Nedved in there with Platini as the 10.
Yeah.
And then Del Piero will never be denied, and Baggio up top. Or maybe I go Tardelli, Zidane, Platini, and go like Sivori, Del Piero, Baggio. Like, it's crazy. This one we're so
Yeah, right.
amazing how incredible players have played for Juve. If you try to make your all-time 11 guys before your time, have fun. It takes forever, and you're still scratching names out and changing.
There are names of like great players that were here like one off, and they were like good for a year and left. Like, people forget that Michael Laudrup played for Juve for like a season or two. He just like left, went over to the Netherlands again. Like, some crazy players that have played for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Luca coming in here with, did we celebrate Sami Khedira 6 leaving on here? I don't think the celebration's going to end. This is a question I want to ask though, and everybody that's joining live too. So you have people that are like, why do you have to disrespect him? Why do you have to, like, it's not a disrespect to be happy to see a guy leave. It's like the turning of the page, man. It's just a page that's been literally like glued, and unable to fucking turn. And the guys literally tried to suck the money from the club. And it just, I don't understand.
If Khedira would have left in the summer, I think I would have been a little bit more like, okay, thank you. But this whole year of just like, he knew he wasn't getting that team. Like, why stay? Like, just get it done early.
Exactly. And when you look at the guys like Matuidi, well, hey, you know what? I don't see as part of the project, and he moves over. Okay.
Higuain came to training, was told he wasn't, left.
Yeah. I respect that. The fact of how he did it, I think, is fine to get that kind of treat. You get what you deserve, essentially. That's like saying, oh, you feel bad for Bonucci getting booed ridiculously when he stepped foot on into Juve Stadium after making the switch to Milan. That's like saying, oh, you shouldn't be like that. Bullshit. You get what you give. And Sami Khedira is the same thing. He was told he's not part of the project, but he stuck around for the money. I would have had more respect for him if he said, no, I'm entitled to this because of my contract, so I'm going to stay because I'm owed this. I would actually have more respect for that. I'd say, holy shit, Sammy, you do have a pair of balls.
I think too, fans need to remember, you're allowed to be fans. It's okay to be like, you know what, I'm done with this guy. Get him out of my club. That's part of being a fan. This objective, we can't say anything. It needs to stop. Just be fans. It's
absolutely. And then Antonio coming in here to Lucas. I'm still drunk, Luca, from hearing this news last night. The SK6 hangover. That's so good. So good. Yeah, man. Dan Lucci here has got a question here. So back to Kellini for a second. Do we think he sticks around for one more season? So, man, the rumor is that Pirlo wants him at least one more year for the dressing room. And I've got mixed feelings about this. I've got mixed feelings about it just in terms, like, I absolutely love Giorgio Chiellini, but in terms of would the team be better? How many guys do we need for the dressing room too? Because I mean, Fawn's going to be sticking around again next year. He ain't going anywhere, and there's a perfect dressing room guy. And if we can't bank on Chiellini's health, are we not better off making a move and using the spot for somebody else?
Yeah.
You got to ask that question. So it's a tough one, man. I think he will, though. I truly believe he is going to stick around for one more year. It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. Is Pirlo going to establish Demiral enough that Demiral's happy to stay? And Chiellini can kind of start to be the one taking the back seat. Is the captain's armband going to change? Like, it seems odd to have a captain that's going to be playing less minutes, right? And for the most part of Chiellini's tenure as captain, Bonucci's been the one carrying the armband, for Christ's sake. So is the switch going to happen there? It's crazy. But what do you think? Do you think he sticks around one more season?
I think he does, because I think that he wants to try and get to the World Cup. It's something that he said in interviews before, that he would like to, even if it was like in like, like a fourth option or fifth option, like he wants to get there one more time. So I think he'll be back. I think the club will bring him back, if at least is to just have him as a fourth option, like you said. I do think, though, and this is something I am curious about, Chiellini, he had injury problems before his ACL, but he didn't have much of an offseason. He had a lot of injuries. It's a condensed schedule. In a normal year with like aptitude rest, I wonder what we could get from him in glimpses. I'm not saying that we could rely on him, but it's like, hey, we have a big match on the two. Like, let's say we play like this year. It's like it's Murder on a Sunday, Champions League on a Wednesday, and Roma on Saturday. Like, maybe there's something you could do there where it's like, hey, like we need to rotate. We got a guy there. So I think that there's some advantages if he can stay fit. The question is like if he can. I think that's also a good shout for Demiral, is that he came off a horrible injury and had no offseason. And, he's also had some fitness issues. So I do kind of I wonder if that makes it a little bit worse than it's been,
Yeah, it's I think you're right in terms of that, like depending on schedule and whatnot, and given that reprieve, so to speak, on the other guys and whatnot. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it'll depend on the whole combination.
Yeah.
What happens. But right now, Bonucci, what are your thoughts on Bonucci?
Well, Bonucci, he's falling apart. I mean, last year I thought, okay, maybe he played a lot of minutes last year. I was like, okay, maybe that's it. But this year, it's simple things. Like mentally, he looks checked out. I mean, you could say like, ability's lacking, but it's the mental stuff. I mean, you look at the Swallow game where you got the awful yellow card. I mean, he is so out of position on that ball over the top that he has to foul the guy. And you see it time and time again where like if he's there by himself, like he just like is out of position a lot. We saw the first Inter goal. He's like all the way up at the right back position. It's really weird. I think that they need to, if it's not this summer, they need to figure out, okay, is Demiral our replacement for Bonucci? Or do we do that next summer? Because after this summer, I mean, you might get a year out of him, maybe. But after that, I mean, you could see it. Like he's depreciating. The only reason I think Bonucci still starts is because he's never hurt. That's like the best thing that he does is he's never hurt.
Yeah, it really is. Luis coming in with if Chiellini leaves, he should take Bonucci with him. The DDD backline is the future. Well, Danilo's no spring chicken either. Yeah. So, but Danilo's done a fantastic job. Demiral, De Ligt, does he stay? Once that clause kicks in and everything, I think he's gonna. I would like to think, in terms of how he expresses his happiness at being here, despite what Barcelona fans will still tell you to this day. De Ligt looks extremely happy. Like he's been an incredible signing. I think he's one of the top D-men in the world right now, hands down. I think he's the guy, and fuck man, he should be one of those bandieras for Juve. That's going to be an interesting one. It's always up in the air though when you have that agent, Mino Raiola. And look at this, like clockwork, Antonio coming in here with 2 words, guys. Raiola. Yep. That's kind of the question mark. And I'd hate to see that. But even Mino, everything changes there with that guy, right? He's been good and bad for Juve,
I feel like as long as the player doesn't tell Raiola that he like is unhappy, he's okay. Like Donnarumma, he's kind of left alone at Milan a little bit. I mean, if they don't sign him, that's more about money. But like I think that Pogba kind of always wanted to leave, and that's where he put that pressure in. But Raiola, it's weird, like you said, it's a love-hate relationship because he screwed us a couple times, but also like he's brought in a lot of good players, So it's like it's odd. I don't know how I feel about him, to be honest.
Yeah. Back to the match at hand. Merda, Juve, Coppa Italia, first leg, semi-final. Prediction time. We talked about the feelings going into the first match against the ones now. I still, back then, even though we had a lot of questions that we talked about earlier in this show, I still felt Juve was going to get the job done. We failed miserably. We got everything wrong in that one. I want to ask you a couple things. How you think this game's going to go, what your prediction is, and how big an impact these certain guys that are in the lineup now will make, and what you think is going to end up happening. Vishwajit just coming in saying, hello. Hey, Vishwajit, thanks for joining. And Lewis, fire away, man.
So my prediction is it's going to end 2-1. I think it's going to be tight. I think we're going to have a good Derby d'Italia. I think it's going to be much better than the last one. I think Juventus, Pirlo has talked about it a lot in the last 3 weeks. He keeps kind of hinting at that game, right? He keeps addressing it. So I think that there's extra motivation there. He's played, his hatred for Merda has to be right up there with the rest of Juventini fans, So I think that we're going to see a strong Juventus performance. I think that midfield is clicking really well. This is a big test for them. And I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet this time. I think Merida will make it close, but I think we win 2-1, and I think we get a goal from Ronaldo today, and I think we're going to get one from Juan Cuadrado just because it would piss the rest of us off.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. So, I did not call a clean sheet for a long time. I did call one for the last match.
Yeah.
I nailed that one last match. And this one, I don't think, because I think both teams are going to go at each other pretty good. Neither team, we're not going to get a clean sheet in my opinion, but neither will Merda.
Yeah.
They won't get another clean sheet on us. I'm waiting for Ronaldo to actually be Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I will never bet against the guy. I think it's gonna come. Is it in this particular match? I'm not 100% sure. De Ligt being at the back, I think is going to be a massive, massive presence.
Yeah.
I think if we can generate some pressure, some momentum in their end, I think they're going to struggle. I think Merda might struggle getting out because of De Ligt. Also, if Demiral is going to be a part of that, I think we'll put the pressure on him pretty good. Sandro being in there, again, he doesn't have to deal with Hakimi. Darmian won't do anything on Sandro's side if Sandro's in the lineup. Regardless of Sandro being called bathroom break and slow as hell, Darmian's not going to do anything. And the other side, Young doesn't really concern me that much. Cuadrado, I think, will do fine if he's the one in there. Will he get that goal that you're calling there, Lewis? I don't know. I don't know if Panita's going to get on the score sheet. Kulishevsky, if he starts, could be the guy that a lot of what we do is going to depend on.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big one. I think I'm agreeing with you. I see a 2-1 win for Juve. It's going to be tight. I think we pull it through. I think Ronaldo gets one, but I think it's still going to be one of those performances where we know he's got more.
Yeah.
In terms of Ronaldo, we'll kind of leave on this. We got our predictions. Everybody that's joined us live here, throw your predictions down. I want to hear what you're all thinking here. Vishwajit coming in with his. We will try to dominate from the start, but it'll be very tight. So I think 3-2. So there's his. Giuseppe join us. Nice to see you there, my man. Thanks for hopping in here. and get your predictions in, everybody. I want to see your predictions. But yeah, I think tight one. I think we take her 2-1. But Ronaldo, I want to ask you about Ronaldo, Lewis, and your thoughts on him so far, because he has been. I can understand fans' frustration because we all know he's so much better than what he's been doing, and his attitude seems to be a little bit off. I want to get it from you, Lewis. Your thoughts currently on Ronaldo?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fans, we forget that there's like this period once a year. It's been like this for the last like 10 years. Even when he was at Real Madrid, you know, my friends who are Madrid fans would say the most frustrating thing is at the beginning of the year when he plays like, you know, like he plays like an average number 9. So, but I think we're getting it now in the middle of the season. I think that for whatever reason, he's checked out mentally. I don't know if he's saving himself for the tail end of the season when they're really going to need him. But I think I wouldn't bet against him, like you said. Like, I think we will see Ronaldo come back to his normal self. I think that there's probably a combination of the fact that he's played a lot of minutes and that, you know, he's probably mentally checked out. Right around the Champions League, he kind of checks back in and reasserts himself. And I wonder if that's kind of like what's going on right now. And
sorry, I think this schedule, now's the time.
Yeah.
If he's going to crank it up, now's the time. Coppa Italia semifinals, knockout stages, Champions League, and then you mix in the games against Roma, Napoli. Do his minutes need to be managed a bit better? Will Ronaldo allow his minutes to be managed better?
That's another huge issue.
Yeah, because like it almost seems like he gets rest, and it seems like it's been like that at his career. He gets rest when he wants the rest.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy, but it's like it's not even like rest. It's like I'm not gonna be there with the team.
Yeah, it's almost like he takes like a mental vacation.
Oh yeah, like he's like literally like no, I'm taking a rest. Like I'm gone or whatever. So it'll be interesting. But this is the month where, you know, we've been able to get by. With even him being not at 100% and what we expect of him. If he can turn it on and we get the rest together, I like our chances. And I want to get your thoughts, because some fans and everybody joining us too, I want to get your thoughts, because teams have saying fans have been saying we have no chance in Champions League the way we are. We're good for Copa. We're good for Serie A. We will not do anything in Europe. And I have to disagree. I think we're almost a really dangerous team in Champions League, because we're starting to get things right and Ronaldo isn't firing. If we get the other things right and you have an ultimate game breaker like Ronaldo, shit, man, that's the team you don't want to face.
Listen, Al, you know this better than anyone. And I sometimes I think fans that say that haven't been watching Juventus for a very long time. When Juventus is low key, when you expect the least of them in Europe, is when they like really go. You know, at least in the last 10 years, when you expect the least amount of Juventus, when it's the most questionable, that's when they surprise you. I mean, do I think they can win it? I don't think. I mean, I think Bayern Munich's the best team in the world. Like, I'd be surprised if they didn't win it. But can they, like, you know, next round, if they advance from this round, like get a Manchester City and upset them? Of course they can. They have, you know, some of the best players in the world still. I mean, you have Cristiano Ronaldo, who basically is Mr. Champions League. You can never rule that out. So I think this team can make some surprises. And if you get to the semifinal, anything is possible from there. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. You're spot on about Juve. It's like when you expect the least is when they kick it up and whatnot. And, you know, the ones we have won, it's always been some underlying controversy, circumstances, just, you know. So, yeah, who knows this season? Who knows? Vishwajit coming in terms of Ronaldo. Bro, he's not managed well by Pirlo. He doesn't need to play the whole 90. And he also said he did fantastic plays in the last game. But as always, we expect him to score. It's a little more than expecting to score. But yeah, in terms of certain opportunities he's had, when he's on, he doesn't miss the ones that haven't been going his way. we don't need to get into any kind of type of discussion about questioning Ronaldo or his ability or anything like that. He is not. And if people believe this is the best Ronaldo that we're seeing, you're wrong. You can defend him and say, yeah, he had a few good plays here and there. I'm not disagreeing, but I will disagree 150% that this is the best Ronaldo. It isn't. It's not the best version of Ronaldo.
The player that we saw in the second half of last year, where he was bagging 2 a game, pretty much, like, is the same we're seeing right now? Absolutely not.
Exactly. It's go ahead, Lewis. Continue.
I don't mean to interrupt. I will say I think that part of this is the standard is so high, and I think that when you think about Cristiano Ronaldo, you think about 50, 60 goals a game in his prime, right? And if you look statistically, and I know his performance has been bad, but take the whole season as a whole. In all competitions, there's only one player with more goals, and that's Robert Lewandowski, who won the Ballon d'Or last year, or should have won the Ballon d'Or. So I think that just it's been a little questionable lately. Let's see what happens in the second half of the year, but let's not count him out just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's never about counting him out.
Yeah,
like I said, I'll never bet against the guy. He's a freak, but I think for Juventini to notice or whatnot and expect a little more, I think it's normal. If we think his minutes are too high, then he needs to allow us to manage him a bit better, because we saw what happened with Sarri. Granted, Sarri probably he didn't get along with any of the players. He was kind of seen as a prick or whatnot, and whatever. I wasn't really heartbroken by any means. I still find it crazy that there was a lot of fans that were saying keep him and get the players he needs. I disagreed with that completely. It's so much easier to just change, and we were in the middle of a change anyways. You really don't lose anything. The fact we were able to keep a Scudetto blows me away.
Yeah,
sorry, because it was such a shit show.
Yeah, in fairness, Murda didn't want to win that one either.
Man, Pirlo. In terms of Pirlo, I know you wanted to talk about Pirlo. We're gonna finish up on Pirlo as we wrap this up, but so far, is it going how you expected? What do you like? What do you think could improve? But in terms for me, I'm actually happy. He keeps me on my toes. He's made this season extremely exciting. It seems that it's still pretty positive. If we even look at these these predictions and whatnot, like Luis coming in 3-1, Liam coming in with a 3-1 victory, Luca 2-1, you're 2-1, I'm 2-1. We're still confident in the team being able to get the job done, do the work. I think he's really done well in terms of finding roles for these guys, and he's stuck to his friggin' guns. You got to say that with him. He's got a belief in his vision, and he's stuck to it. But he's getting things turned around. You're going pretty good, and it really makes you wonder if he had a normal preseason, where we'd be at this point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that, if you take this season in the vacuum and you say, like, pre-Torino was awful, right? That was Pirlo, like, figuring out – that was, like, his preseason. That was Pirlo figuring out, hey, this type of football doesn't work in the real world. Let me simplify it a little bit. But since the Barcelona match, there have been, like, maybe 2 or 3 outlier games. Actually, 2. It's been Fiorentina and the Derby d'Italia that went poorly. Atalanta, we were brilliant. We just couldn't finish. So so I think that it's trending upward. And what I will say is the difference is last year under Sarri, we never progressed. It was the same Juve the whole year. And it even got a little worse after the lockdown. But with Pirlo, you're starting to see the plays getting better. The individual performances have gotten better. You can really see where he, at the start of the year, remember, he would always say, Arthur's not ready yet. We're taking our time. We're taking our time. We're taking our time. And now look at a player like Arthur, the way that he uses Weston McKennie, the tactic to, kind of send him through the middle or send him out wide, that comes back to Pirlo, Danilo as that makeshift right center back, so I think there's some good signs there. Has it been perfect? No, it's exceeded my expectations because I kept my expectations low this year. I said at the start of the year that we win the Scudetto, great, but like I take the Coppa Italia and like, I just want to see us play better. And I think for a transition year, this has been really good. And Pirlo's been handed some tough schedules. He's gotten some great results. I mean, 3-0 at Barcelona, the Milan game. I mean, you can't ask for much more. And if he gets a result in this semifinal, I mean that's massive.
Yeah, that'd be big for him if we pull out. We got the Super Copa. If he can pull out Coppa Italia and then see how far he can go in Champions League, Serie A. Really, if he's amongst the top towards the end, I'd be surprised based on what I expected at the start. If I'm being honest, but I knew he would. It was never in question as far as would the players be behind him, and we're seeing that. He's doing a great job at player management for sure, in my opinion. Go ahead.
The last thing I'll say is that, this is a rebuilding year. I think fans need to remember, like, this is supposed to be a transition year, and we hope that the next year is going to be that year. So for a transition year, what you want to see is, hey, did we bring in the new foundation, which we kind of have. Some of these young players look like they could be Juve players for a long time, hopefully. And you want to see if the football's gotten a little bit better, and Pirlo's kind of the perfect manager for that because he's a gamble like the rest of the squad kind of is. So
yeah, I love the fact he's had no fear also of playing the young guys, given them minutes, given the time, and allowing them those opportunities. That's huge. It's something we haven't seen in a long while. Luca coming in here with first time in years where I feel better about Champions League than Serie A. Laugh my ass off. That's funny, but you know what? I get it because a team like this, a team that's in transition that you could see, sometimes firing and looking great. Man, it's a team you don't really want to face because you don't know what you're going to get, really. So I get it. Liam coming in here with Pirlo is just getting started. And he adds, Pirlo is excellent at identifying issues and addressing them for the next week. Exactly what the club needs. I agree. My criticism of him earlier on was making reads quicker in actual matches, being able to turn those matches. Has he been better at that? I feel his subs have started to make more sense, which is natural because now he knows where to use his players. Before, when he didn't have that, it seemed odd to fans because we're trying to think about this. And we weren't familiar with his hybrid setup and exactly how things were going to shape up and whatnot. So it all seemed very, very strange, but it's starting to make a lot of sense. He's starting to find his rhythm as a manager. The team's starting to find their rhythm. And I think, are we going to get there? Is everything going to click? Time will tell. Time will tell. Do we have enough to beat these clowns, Merda, today? Absolutely. Is this our strongest lineup? That's up for debate. I don't think it is because you're missing a few key guys. But is it enough to beat them? Fuck yeah. Is it a strong lineup still? Fuck yeah. Are we going to beat them? Fuck yeah. We're going to beat them today. Everybody enjoy the match. Let's get ready for this one. Okay. Derby d'Italia, first leg, semifinal, Coppa Italia. We're all predicting wins. Stay tuned for the post-match podcast coming at you with another great guest. Hopefully we all celebrate the victory together. Of course, the podcast will be live. All right. So make sure you jump aboard when we do that one and get your questions and comments in. Thanks everybody who joined. Lewis, amazing as always, man. Always an absolute pleasure. Enjoy the match, Juventini. Hopefully we can celebrate a victory. Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.